Hey, we are back at RSA 2017. I am Matt Stevenson with Cylance. We've got Bryan Gale, the Vice President of Product Marketing. Bryan, one thing I really want to hear from your perspective, everybody this year is AI and machine learning, and they always have been. Really?
Yeah, I mean, you can't walk around the show floor and turn a corner without getting hit by somebody else that's doing ML and AI, right? And, they're all claiming that they've been doing it for ages and it's nothing new, or that Cylance is a one-trick pony. Most of us came from a rich heritage from AV companies and other products that, we know how they work on the back end. We know what they're doing on the back end. Many of the traditional players, they may be using ML at this point, but really all it's doing is the purpose is to make it more efficient creation of signatures on the back end or in the cloud, right? They're not doing AI and ML on the endpoint like we are, and we can talk a little bit more detail about that.
What's the difference? When we say we were born AI, who cares? Why does that matter?
Well, the company was founded based on the premise that AI and ML could be used to make the primary convictions on the endpoint itself, right? So we don't use any other sort of detection engines or detection technologies, right? We don't use heuristics or behavioral rules. Everything is done autonomously on the endpoint through that machine learning models that's been essentially miniaturized down onto the endpoint itself, right? We don't have to query the cloud. We don't have to look at back-end rules or other signature files anywhere to make those convictions, right? It is our primary conviction method on the endpoint itself, is using those machine learning models that we've spent really the last 5 years creating and refining over time.
And so what's the big difference maker? Users out there, let's say they've got 10,000 seats. There's a lot of work that these machines are putting in. When we say that we do all this work on the endpoint, how is that different from how the other guys are doing, and why is that an improvement?
Well, I mean, it's a huge improvement, right? We have almost no perceptible impact whatsoever on the endpoint, right? We are so lightweight, so non-intrusive that we just don't even register on the CPU in many cases, right? Trying to do our job of keeping that system safe on the endpoint. And all of that's done with the endpoint being capable of making its own autonomous decisions of what's malicious or what's not on the endpoint. We don't have to do a regular system scan and bog down the whole box, while we're trying to scan for malware based on getting a new DAT file, right? We don't have to go through that onerous process of downloading a 750 meg DAT file every single day, maybe every few days, right? Uncompressing that and then scanning the system again, right? The AI and the ML on the endpoint works in a very, very predictive fashion where, we can leave that unupdated or not touched for, months at a time and still remain close to 100% effective compared to traditional AV, which is constantly requiring, checks back to the cloud to get additional content or additional validation as to whether something should be allowed to run or not.
So that's a lot of information we're throwing at you. To dig deeper into this, we've got all the white papers and case studies available. It is at www.cylance.com. Also, make sure you follow us on Twitter, because that's when all of the interesting updates are coming out. That is at Cylance Inc. If you're looking for me for the knucklehead stuff, it is at PacMat73. Hashtag for the show for RSA this week is hashtag RSA27. Hashtag RSAC 2017. All kinds of good stuff, so stick around.